Thank you, Sunny, for joining us today on Let's Talk Business series by RealtyNXT.
Thank you so much, Kritika, for having me over. It's a pleasure.
So, Sunny, born in the real estate family, how did the family business affected your decision or your passion for the industry, and what kind of values did you inherit from your family that guide your leadership style in Supreme right now?
So I'll tell you, Kritika, as a young boy, I always saw my father talking about real estate, talking about development. Obviously, back then the business was very different. But there was a burning desire in me always to explore on my own. I didn't grow up with the idea of always or for sure joining the business. I always was very clear that whenever I'm ready, I'm going to take a decision only if I am actually interested in this business.
Hmm.
So I'll tell you a small story. I actually did not even speak to my father or when I was graduating, and I sat for campus placement interviews. And out of I think about 80 of us, 2 of us got selected for a job at Ambit RSM, which was the Ashok Vadva Group, as risk consultants
Hmm.
doing fraud investigation and risk audit. We obviously had no experience. And I sat for the placement interview. There was a little entrance exam, some test, and 2 of us got selected. Now I got handed out an offer letter, and obviously the pay back then, if I tell you, you'll laugh right now.
Hmm.
But I mentally decided that I do not want to directly ever feel that just because I was my father's son, I had this opportunity, and hence I just took that,
Hmm.
and nothing else was explored. So I said, I want to throw myself in the ocean and look at seeing what is out there before I take any decision. And we had obviously a gap between our final exam and the job starting. It was about a month. So for 1 month, like everybody else, I was chilling, having a good time. And then I started work. And I had like crazy timings. I was to be there at 9, come back home at 11, because I was an analyst. So we had a lot of you know audits to do, and there's a lot of learning from the partners I was
Yeah.
working with. And after about a month of my job, over dinner once, my father asked me that if you're done partying and having a good time, do you want to get serious and start work?
Hmm.
I said, I'm already working. He said, What do you mean you're already working?
Hmm.
I said, I've taken up a job, and I'm already employed in this company. And the reason I didn't tell him this back then, because I knew that it would not be taken very well.
Yeah.
And he told me, "Are you crazy? Like, why would you even look at working anywhere outside?"
Hmm.
I told him, I if I joined the business, I would never know what what was there outside for me, and whether I liked anything else or not. And I would never be able to feel that I've started ground up. You know how Indian business families are. You're always looked at as the boss's son. So that's something I never wanted.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make the first rupee with my own effort, without any baggage, without my last name.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. And I had a great time. I worked there for about, I think, almost 2 years. And it was the most rigorous, so-called exposure to the business world that I could have.
Hmm.
I used to travel to Kochi to do audits in warehouses. I've shared rooms with, people in guest houses there, because my rank was so low that the budget on me was the lowest. And I've had the best time of my life, honestly. The amount I learned there, and more than anything, what I learned is discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline in the professional world, which more so in family businesses, you don't get to see that very often, at least back then.
Hmm.
He obviously was not very pleased, because all his friends kids had joined the business right after graduating, and that was the de facto decision to take. Uh, so obviously he was not very pleased, and at some point he also felt that I'm just not doing it because I want to rub him the wrong way.
Hmm.
And over the years, I think he did realize that I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing, and it's changing me as a person. And after 2 years, then we had a conversation, and he said, "Listen, I know you like what you do, but if you think you can try this, and if you enjoy the real estate side, you'll probably be able to play a bigger game. Why not you use your skill set and try to make something out of this? I've created a platform. It's for you to grow, and if you're not interested, there's no sense in me taking the platform further." And that made sense to me. So I didn't join the business because I was his son and that is what I'm supposed to do. I joined the business after me exploring something outside, and then feeling that probably I can come here and add value. And my condition also was that I will only do this if I'm enjoying it. I don't care about the kind of money behind it, but if I'm not happy every day,
Mm.
and not enjoying what I'm doing, there's no sense in even making money, right?
Yeah.
And then I did join after a couple of years, and I started living on a construction site in Pune. I had some space there in one of the apartments. I used to literally for 1 year be on the construction site, look at the most bizarre things of how concrete is mixed. Back then, we used to mix concrete on site. RMC
Mm.
was not very popular. How steel bars are cut. So I used to sit with the contractors just to understand how things are done on site. And from there on, I started enjoying looking at land purchase and all the laws and what goes behind all of that. And so I tried to expose myself in every department of the business, trying to understand what is it that is my core interest and core strength.
Mm.
And gradually, then you do realize what you have a flair for and what really makes sense. And it's very important for you to expose yourself to everything. And the way I self trained myself was also because of my experience in the corporate world,
Mm.
where I understood what went behind training, someone who's just joined afresh, and the kind of rigorous process they followed, and the focus on systems. Because I was doing audit and even process audit, I understood the emphasis on process, on systems, on structure, which was which was lacking completely. When I joined the business, I just realized that everything just goes up to the top. There is no system, there is no structure,
No hierarchy.
and everything and every day is just troubleshooting. You just whatever is really important, you attend to that, and then you move to
Yeah.
the next. So I realized that there is a great scope for us to transform the way we work.
Mm.
It can be done in a much smarter way, and that's what my intent has been, and my effort has been. Really, it's still a work in progress, and that's my journey. And then I started enjoying the whole process of development, of creating something that is going to last beyond your lifetime. So we literally look at a piece of land, we have a vision, we see tomorrow, we see what we feel is going to be the right bet for this location. So we all of us in our business literally have long term bets. So all of us to some extent are astrologers, where we look at
Mm.
something, we have a plan, and everything is in our head, and then layer by layer you start peeling all of that off, and all of that comes to reality. It's like we giving birth to a baby every time you're doing a new
True.
project.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of labor. The labor pain is not visible outside. We know what we go through,
Yeah.
and so each project is like delivering a new baby. And for those of us who are passionate about even construction and design, and I am extremely deeply involved and passionate about that, when you see that project come up and you start putting all the puzzles and pieces together, and
Mm.
finally you see that thing ready and the baby delivered, and you name the baby,
Yeah.
that's when you just the kind of satisfaction you get when you see that, and that is going to be there for the world to see for decades to come.
True.
I think that process of envisioning this on a piece of paper to actually having this on a
Yeah.
piece of land and
Mm.
there for years to come, I think that process is just amazing, and that's what I started enjoying. And the one you also asked me about what we've inherited. So I keep telling everybody the biggest land bank I've inherited from my father
Mm.
is the one single mantra of never ever go back on your word. You lose profit, but you cannot lose your brand name. And the one thing I keep telling the entire team: your net worth is not what is in your bank. Your net worth is what people talk behind your back when you are not watching.
True.
And if that is your focus, and if that is your philosophy of doing business, I don't think you can go wrong. You
True.
can make mistakes, but you can never be out of business.
True.
So the one line of Warren Buffett is, I think it's cast in stone in my head. It's not your time in the market; it's your timing in the market that decides your success or failure. So if you keep playing the game right,
Mm.
year after year, you will grow, and you will grow in the right direction. The problem is most of us are not happy with the right consistent pace of growth. Many times you really, look at a certain situation, greed overtakes,
Yeah.
your rational, and that's when the wrong decisions are taken. And nobody most times has taken a wrong decision in bad time. You mostly take wrong decisions in good times. So it is in good times that you
Mm.
really need to make sure that your head is on your shoulders, your values are in place, and your basic business rationale is is in your mind when you're taking any decision. And at no point of time I think uh, any amount of profit can justify you shortchanging anybody you're dealing with. And in our business, unfortunately, there is a massive trust deficit still.
Yeah.
Things are changing now because of regulation, because of the way things have changed. The entire landscape has changed. Customers have become a lot more aware. Things are changing. So I just feel that if the new breed of developers, the likes of us, all of us, who've taken over, and a lot of our seniors, I think the baton is now with us, honestly, to make sure that we change the perception
Yeah.
of what people feel about our industry. Because I don't do, if not more, I think we are at par with any other industry in the kind of effort that goes into looking at any new project. Every project is like putting up a new plant.
True.
So the kind of effort that goes in, it looks very easy from the outside, but the kind of uh, situations we deal with, the kind of authorities we deal with, and the way the entire structure of our business is, I mean, it's not easy, and most people can't hack it. So I just think that it's about time that we get our due, and I feel in the decades to come, where you will see consolidation at a much higher pace, you will see greater development, you will see more organized players, you will see even players who are mid-sized getting a lot more organized. The whole structure will change. The kind of talent we're attracting today, our industry is a lot more superior compared to what we did a decade ago, because it has become one of the mainstream businesses now. So I feel the next decade is going to be one of the most exciting times in our industry from every point of view.
No, it's good. You're being optimistic because now we are also seeing the change. Like the way the real estate landscape was before, not organized, as you also mentioned, and you noticed. Now it's being more organized, the technology is being implemented, and having the right foundation. As you said, the values really matter because the lack of transparency and trust was an issue when it came to real estate industry,
Correct.
right? So now a lot of second generation developers are creating that values, are having those foundation quite strong so the customers can also rely on the brand. But going back to what you said, it's quite interesting that you went dirty your hands and went for the practical knowledge and everything. But if you had to look back during your childhood, you must have noticed your father visiting the sites, going to those sites, and you must have also accompanied him during those time. Did you aspire, this is my field? I know you later went for a job, but during those times when you saw those sites, how the buildings were being developed, how your father had envisioned something on the paper and how it's going in the construction, during those times, did you aspire, this is the field for me?
So I won't lie, I was always very curious, because at those times, we used to have these large blueprints.
Yeah.
That's how plans were approved. Nothing was online, obviously, back then. So I used to see these large blueprints coming home where it would occupy the entire dining table. And I would just try to look at that and try to understand, what are these dimensions? What is this entire, FSI statement? So obviously, it was very technical for me at that time as a kid, but it was also very intriguing. Where I would look at my father, look at a blueprint, and then suddenly I would see that this building is coming up, on a piece of land near my house. So I was always very intrigued, uh, but at the same time, something inside me always wanted me to explore beyond, and then keep seeking before I actually settle. So you keep saying that you want to meet a lot of girls before you decide to settle down.
Yeah.
So that was the logic for me, that
Okay.
date as many professions as you can before you really decide what you want to do, because once you're committed to the family business, it's very difficult to go back,
True.
and that never happened. So before you get married, you should date a few times.
So tell me, being the second generation real
uh,
estate developer,
uh,
how did you balance the rich legacy of the
mm.
company Supreme Universal by, incorporating or making sure the need of the innovation is present and staying ahead of the competition is always there?
So the first thing, Kritika, I believe, is that you have to accept that you do not know everything.
Hmm.
If you in your head think that I know it all just because I am sitting on a certain chair, that's a recipe for disaster. So I might not be too many things, but the one thing I am is a seeker. I always want to learn. If there's an opportunity, I will grab that. So from the onset, I try to expose myself, even though I joined the business. I always want to study further. So I did some management programs at ISB along with me being at work, and I always at some point was fascinated by doing executive MBA at Harvard. So I went and applied. I applied actually when I was very young, and they rejected me because of my age. And then I applied again, uh, and I think they got fed up with my application, and they realized that maybe we should give this guy a shot. And then I got in, and I did my OPM, Onam President Management Program at HBS. I started that in 2018. It's a 3-year program. It's so you go there for 1 month, and then you're back at work. That's how it is. 1 month on campus, and the rest of the time you're back at work. So 18 and 19 were 2 years. Uh, Post that, we had COVID for 2 years, so we couldn't go to campus. And then I finally graduated last year in March 2023. I'm telling you this because at no point of time, although I've been in the business now for close to 2 decades, at no point of time did I, ever feel that I know it all. So at every point of time, you have to reinvent yourself. So initially, when I started off, I first tried to put the nuts and bolts in place in terms of getting the right people, putting a structure, putting some systems. We implemented an ERP way back many more than about 10, 12 years ago, and we've kept on looking at what we can do to make sure that the system is automated, or at least the system is set where we don't repeat the same mistakes, and bandwidth is not choked because of a process not being in place. So it's still work in progress. We're still working on that. We're still looking at how we can uh, automate certain processes. To give you a simple example, what we're working on now is we're looking at having a customer portal linked to our ERP. So what are the basics that the customers want when they actually buy a home? They want their account details. They want their agreement at a click of a button. They want their receipts. They want their demand letters coming. They want to know the status of the site. They want pictures, images of the site.
Yeah.
So these basics can easily today be linked with your ERP. So we've now worked with our ERP vendor where now this customer portal will be going live very soon. Where for mundane things, the customer doesn't need to really ask us. The customer has visibility of what they paid, what they're going to pay, what is the schedule, at which they'll be able to pay the next milestone. So they have whatever they would need from a hygiene perspective is all going to be there, including images. We actually want to go a step further. So I keep telling my team, equate this to ordering something on Swiggy. When I order something on Swiggy, I know that my food is being prepared. I know the person has left. I know he's going to be at my house in so and so time. The ease of me sitting at home and outsourcing my chef to a certain restaurant and getting it delivered to me with as much transparency, I think that is where we need to go as far as tech, even in real estate, is concerned. When someone today is buying a home, it's always going to be a tangible buy where you will want to still touch, feel, see a show apartment.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of enablers that are going to make your life a lot easier, that are going to make you increase your trust in the developer and the project. So I think going forward, we are also going to reach a stage where you can literally, from the click of your button, from your app, see your apartment. You can see the kind of work that is happening in your apartment. So let's say, Kritika, you buy a 3 BHK. You right now at the stage at which the project is got launched, you have bought a piece of paper and you bought air. There's nothing that you have. If you literally with slab after slab can see that the last slab was cast in so many days, next slab due is so and so, you're seeing a building coming up on your phone. Each time you want to see, you're getting to see live photographs. And if you can today get into your apartment and actually see the status of your apartment, you can show your family that this is your apartment, walls are coming up, bathrooms are being made. I think that is the level of tech that I think we are going to reach very, very soon. We are at least trying to work on this, because I think the more you can in a transparent manner showcase to your customer, the lesser questions that they will have, and they will be your brand ambassadors for free. And there is nothing more powerful. An ad in the newspaper is not half as powerful as a customer going and telling 5 people that listen, buy with them, you can sleep in peace.
True.
I think that one line is worth I don't know how many million bucks. So all of what you do today, I think you have to keep that vision in mind, that you have to be the first choice of the customer. And if a customer is buying with me, the customer needs to become my brand ambassador for life. The customer and the customer's family. Because imagine today, I mean, we are about to do a project which is about close to 600 apartments in Chembur. We've done a project in Powai which is about 1800 apartments. Now imagine the scale of these apartments. Each apartment will have 4 people living in. All of them will have, each of them will know at least 10 close people. So you imagine the universe of people who are then going to talk the right language for you and for your project. You don't need to market beyond a point.
True. Yeah.
Because our business is so visible, you literally can see and believe that yes, the project is coming up. The experience you give your buyer. So we always, as developers, the erstwhile developers, or the way business was done, it was a, a business of selling, a tangible asset. I think now it's becoming as much of a service as it is a product. You have to make sure the experience is good. You have to make sure that the experience even post you handover is good. So when you're doing large projects or when you're doing luxury projects, you have to, brands are going to be built focus on managing the project, or at least making sure they have the right tie-ups to manage projects. Because if your project is well managed, now imagine if you're living in a XYZ project and you have the confidence this project is going to be well managed. No resident occupant wants to get into managing the society or managing the project.
Yeah.
Correct. So if you can just put those systems in place, whether you have the capability in-house or you tie up with somebody, but as long as you can make sure that this building is well maintained. Now for that, there's a lot of back-end work and a lot of structure to be put in place. So today when you're selling, if you're selling apartments, it's very important to start creating a corpus at the time of sale, where the corpus ultimately is healthy enough to take care of that large society. So developers today need to think of what is going to happen to the occupant's life 3 to 5 years to 10 years down the line after they move in. That is where brands are going to be built. That is where projects are going to have the value and hold the value for years to come. You look at any old building today, 10, 20, 30, 40 years old, project that commands a premium today is for two reasons.
Yeah.
Apart from location, the way they are maintained and the gentry they have attracted. You look at any of the older projects that you think of. So this is the level to which developers today need to think. We are not only developers, we're in whatever minor form are urban planners. We need to think of how this life inside this community is going to be sustainable. So that is the level to which we need to go, and tech is going to be a good enabler for us to be able to make life easier for our residents. You're ultimately selling a lifestyle, right? If I just have to sell 2 rooms and a bathroom, I think you that's something that you can purchase anyway. What am I doing differently?
So you guys are focusing very much on luxury segment side, right? And I feel if I'm even asking this question, I feel you have already answered, but I've noticed you guys have, gained quite success in this segment.
Correct.
So what do you feel the factors is there to contribute to the success? Is this the thing where you answered convenience to the customer, creating a great experience from, handing over to home, from the selling point of view? So what factors have contributed to this success?
So the number one thing, Kritika, I'll tell you is product design. When you're doing luxury, uh, what you really need to focus on is how they are going to use the space. What is the difference between a 2 bed and a 4 bed or a 5 bed? It is the usage of space, correct? When you're doing a 2 bed to fit it in a certain ticket size to make it achievable and affordable for the buyer. Likewise, when you're doing a luxury apartment, the planning and what all you've incorporated in terms of the layout of the apartment becomes extremely important. So your air ventilation, light ventilation, the sizes of rooms, what all do you fit in, apart from the common amenities in the building. So today, room sizes become extremely important because when someone is buying luxury, they know real estate.
Yeah.
They are not buying their first home.
Yeah.
They probably are buying their third or fourth home.
True.
So if it's an upgrade, they are investing now in the next 20 years in the lifestyle of their family. Now they all know very clearly what they want out of their life inside the apartment and inside the complex. So you need to understand the mindset of, if you were the customer, how would you want to use the space? So real estate is about understanding the mindset of the customer of what they want from the house, of how they plan to use this. Today, if let's say a 12 by a 10 by 12 or 11 by 12 room size in a 2 BHK might work, that won't work in a luxury apartment, right?
True.
How the size of your windows, the kind of windows that you provide, the kind of decks that you provide. So lot of, I mean, today I have guys who are buying luxury apartments of 30 crores and upwards. Their demands now are not about rooms. Their demands are about two walk-in wardrobes, one for his and one for her. I have some men who also come and told me that, can you make sure that I can even have a separate apartment so that if me and my wife need to sleep separately at times, even that happens. So you need to understand how life has changed, and life after COVID has changed drastically. If you look at luxury sales in Bombay from 2017 to 2020, sales beyond 10 crore ticket size were about in the range of 9,500 units. 2021, it was over 20,000 units. The ticket size above 10 crores. That's the kind of quantum leap jump. Yes, you can argue that some of it was pent up demand. You can argue some of it was because stamp duty, but there was demand, right? These numbers are registered. So I feel that this entire segment is underserved, because the kind of millionaires you're going to see in India is going to be the size of populations of many countries. The growth of millionaires in India, it was 11% in 2020 alone. That was the growth in the number of millionaires. So I feel that it's real estate is all about understanding the usage and catering to that usage. Everything else can be worked upon. The knowledge of the product type, it's like designing a car. Correct? You want the right leg room, you want the right horsepower, you want the right comfort in terms of the seat. So there are a lot of finer details, and hence I feel that real estate, like 20 years back, anybody who had money thought that they could buy land and become a developer. It is a business of you understanding the need of the customer, because you're not only, you might sell to, let's say, the person who's buying, he or she, but their decision is based on how their family is going to use this. So you're catering to literally serving to the lifestyle of this family for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. So understanding that, I think, is extremely important. Quite interesting you said that, because I wanted to know, as you brought about the client part, how you make sure that you address actively the discerning demands of your high-end clientele in your projects. So, like I told you, first is obviously you understanding what really works. Like in the affordable segment, 30 square feet could be a margin of error. Here, it could be 300 square feet. If you're 300 square feet short, it might not serve the person's purpose. True. So, understanding the right sizing, understanding also the kind of locations and the kind of plot sizes and shapes that will work to fit that product type. Not every product type and every location will work. When you're dealing with luxury, the person wants to check all boxes, because they today are putting down top dollar. It's not a need, correct? It is an upgrade. So they want to check all boxes only when then will they be happy to go. So what's the checklist like for a high-end clientele? So today, its location is obviously the developer, because they want to be sure of the kind of people they're dealing with, timely delivery, quality. That's hygiene. But for the luxury buyer, it's aesthetics, because they're well traveled. They've seen the world. They've seen the best properties around the world in Europe, UK, America. So they now equate their lifestyle with that. So they want to get everything that money can buy. The kind of efficiency of your layout, is it serving their purpose? The kind of customized ability that your apartment really has. So your structure needs to be designed keeping in mind that I might have decided a certain floor plan, keeping everything that I know in mind, but that person might come, and no two people are the same. No two people use their house in the same way. Today, a nuclear family might not want so many bedrooms. They might want to collapse everything and make a large den, increase it, the deck size or the living room size. So you have to make sure that in luxury, you give as much flexibility as possible, at least within the apartment. You don't want to obviously change the facade, but keeping that uniform within the apartment, you want to make sure that they have all the flexibility. So all of this, I think, is these are small pieces, but they matter a great deal in the success of the project. So when it comes to amenities, how do you make sure the right amenities cater to these high-end clientele? So there are two kinds of clients that you'll meet. One kind of clientele are who probably have kids and who want larger gated communities, who want large amenities, big common areas. Then there are guys who today don't want to be seen. understated luxury. They have it all.
Yeah.
But they want to be hidden. They want to be in projects where they have it all, but there are not too many people. It's like living in a vertical villa.
Exclusive
So
premium.
they
Yeah.
want lesser people to look to be interacting every day, lesser people to be able to manage and maintain the condominium. So here, in a standalone building today, they obviously do want your swimming pools, your sky lounge, your gym, your banquet, the double height entrance lobby. So here it's a lot about the basic amenities, but it's also a lot about when they invite people over, what is the experience that that project gives? What is the arrival like? How is the entire landscape design of the project? How is the interior design of your common areas?
From the lobby to the lift to
Exactly.
the apartment.
Because today, so we've done a project on Pali Hill where we've sold apartments for close to 40 to 50 crores. Now, those buyers are are those who obviously you know for them their everyday life is important. Many of them are people who attract people from that strata of society in their circle, in their business circle. So they want to make sure that when they're sending an invitation and when someone comes home, they're awed and they feel that this person has really made the right decision.
Yeah.
So at that time, it's not about showing off. It's about you making people also really feel and realize that you have chosen the right thing and you've really got a gem in the entire crowded space of real estate. So I think these finer things really are extremely important, and aesthetics I think go a long way. So we actually did away with any sort of marble in a project like this. And for when you think of luxury, you think that marble to hoga hai, marble has to be there everywhere you'll clad. We didn't have 1 square inch of marble in any of the common areas. We actually had printed customized printed cemented tiles that you would probably see in a Soho house in London. We had a lot of wood paneling, we had a lot of artwork. So we had a lot of stone cladding on the building with carvings on the building. So we made sure that we give the experience of arrival where there is so much of warmth when you enter.
Yeah.
So my brief to the entire design team was that we need to appeal to all senses. When somebody comes in, what they see, what they smell, what they hear, what they feel, what they touch, everything should be warm where really they feel they've come home. The arrival should not be that they've come to a hotel, because you go to a hotel for a different reason. But when you come home, you really want to feel that you're cocooned in a space that's safe and secure for you. You forget all your worries of the outside world. It should not intimidate you. It should make you feel warm. It should make you feel grounded. And that's what a home should be. And that was our design brief, and everyone worked around that.